camera needs to point down slightly, but you still want some sky. That's too high. Why don't you let me do this?
Okay. Welcome back to our channel. I'm Corey.
I'm Lori.
What are we talking about today?
We have an announcement for this summer. Big hike.
Big hike, and if you looked at the YouTube thumbnail, you know that's the John Muir Trail.
So thanks for coming back. Those that have subscribed, thank you, and thank you for your comments. We've gotten some good input, solicited and unsolicited, and we love it all. So thank you for being a part of our journey. Remember, we're here to learn, so keep teaching us. We're here to inspire. Maybe you'll get out there this summer. What's the other thing?
Learn, inspire, share.
Share.
Which is what we're doing right now.
We're about to do.
So today's episode, I'm going to show you basically how I went through the permit process, planning where I'm going to stay, how much I'll hike each day, and then my base weight, which is super important, how heavy my backpack's going to be. Why aren't you going?
I thought it sounded like a great idea for you. It wasn't something I wanted to do. I gave it real careful consideration. I forget the girl that we've watched her whole travel do multiple trails. And
Dixie.
There you go. She's awesome. It's just not me. I'm loving what I'm doing right now with it, and until I'm ready to do more, I'm not going to be dragging him down. So he's going to go with a couple other guys who are, there's constant phone calling and chatting about this, and I'm very excited for them. So I'm going to enjoy myself doing a smattering of other things that involve showers.
Very nice. So yeah, so I hope you enjoy this. I hope it inspires you. Obviously, in this time with the pandemic and different things like that, there are some obstacles that could come in the way, but it seems like the big obstacles are out of the way, and it looks like this trip might actually happen for me. So we'll keep you posted along the way, but enjoy today's episode. All right, here's what I want to do. The three things I'm going to talk about today as far as the John Muir Trail. First, the permit. Second, planning, how I planned it. And third, my base weight. That should be pretty interesting. So first of all, thinking about the permits. The traditional way of going about the John Muir Trail, I would say, is from Yosemite Valley to the Whitney porthole. So, or the top of Mount Whitney is actually the end. So that means getting a permit for that is pretty challenging. Basically, they only want about 45 people exiting Yosemite over the Donahue Pass, which is the way that the John Muir Trail goes. So that means 45 people a day get a permit. 1,000 people or more apply each day. So if you go on to the Yosemite website, you can get all the way through and figure out that information. You got to apply 168 days. Let me see. Yeah, 168 days in advance. And it's basically the golden ticket. You're in the lottery for 21 days. So for that 21 day period, you could potentially get a permit, but it's definitely not guaranteed. So I had a certain amount of time that I can go, and pretty specific time I had to start. So that kind of eliminates the whole lottery thing for me. So what did I do? Well, there's other options. You can go northbound. If you go from the Whitney porthole northbound, there's only about 15 permits a day for that as well. So again, kind of a golden ticket. But there's other trails that you can use that intersect or meet up with the John Muir Trail. For example, a very popular one coming from the south going northbound is the Cottonwood Pass. So that will add about 2 days, maybe, depending on how fast you backpack. 2 days to your trip, but basically you come up and then you summit Mount Whitney and then you go the rest of the way, going northbound. So that was an option. But as I only have about 2 weeks, I wanted to figure out what's the biggest bang for the buck that I can get for the John Muir Trail. So I started exploring around to websites like this, Barefoot Theory, John Muir Trail section hike, or hiking the John Muir Trail, looking for section hikes. Now, a section hike, if you don't know, it's a portion of the longer trail. So the John Muir Trail is 203 miles. So you maybe do a 100-mile section of that. So that would at least give you alternate entry points and exit points off the trail. So that's what I did. And like, for example, this website here, it talks about Rush Creek, Shadow Creek, John Muir Trail, Devil's Post Pile. So different hikes that you can do to get into the John Muir Trail. So I settled on Rush Creek. The reason that I did that is because it's where it intersects the John Muir Trail, the specific way that I'm going to go. It's about 4 miles south of the Donahue Pass. So I will essentially miss all of Yosemite in 4 miles of the John Muir Trail. Now, I've done quite a bit in Yosemite, so I feel pretty good about that. And maybe one day I'll have to go back and finish the rest out, which would be kind of fun for Lori and I to do together. So that's how I settled on that. So now, if you go to recreation.gov, how do you get the permit? Won't go too deep into it, but if you type Inyo National Forest Wilderness Permit here, that'll take you to this website. You explore available permits. You can get 6 months out, 6 months in advance. So if you don't get it 6 months in advance, you're probably not going to get it. You have to almost do it to the day. So this is October. Let's just look at how to go about doing that. So I'm going to do an overnight permit. 6 days from now, one person. I'm not a commercial guide. So you can pick the different ones. So for example, Donahue Lake, Donahue Pass right here, or Cottonwood Lake, Cottonwood Pass. Like I mentioned, I'm coming from Rush Creek. So you select that, book now. It's going to take you to this other page. My personal information was above there. So now basically you have to select an exit point. Let's just say Baxter, just for kicks. And then the exit date. So I'm going to go for 14 days. So ideally you would maybe pick Kearsarge Pass or Whitney, one of those. But if you're picking 14 days from here, that would be the 22nd. So now it's going to ask you for campsite locations. Now you only have 15 minutes to enter all this stuff. It does give you like a 5-minute, like, hey, I need 5 more minutes, but that's it. So you kind of want to have these basic ideas of your campsite locations ahead of time. They don't have to be exact, just simply they understand you might do more miles or less miles in a day, but this gives them a general idea of where people are going to be on the trail. Here's a little tool I found to help me with this. It's the John Muir Trail Itinerary Locations. So I went to fs.usda.gov. So if you go to Google and just type in John Muir Trail Itinerary and then FS-USDA, this is the first one that pops up. If you say John Muir Trail Itinerary, it's like the third or fourth one that pops up. But this basically goes mile by mile, and you can see, okay, Ruby Lake, okay, I'll camp there the first night. 44 miles, not a bad day for you backpacking. But you see the basic idea. I highlighted each of the ones that I thought. I picked like 12 miles a day type thing. So then when it came time to filling this out, it was quite simple and pretty quick. I still needed the extra 5 minutes. Traveling method, you're walking, whether you're bringing an animal or not. Basically, once you hit submit, you've read it, all that stuff, you got a permit. So that's basically how I went about getting a permit for the John Muir Trail. So planning was the next area that I wanted to talk about, and I used 2 apps for this. The first app is Guthooks. Now with Guthooks, you download one specific trail, like the whole John Muir Trail, and that will allow you to use that while you're on trail. And it updates pretty routinely. It uses GPS, so you can use it even if you don't have cell service. But what it does is it has waypoints all along the way, lots of them. Maybe where a trail intersects, or a campsite, or where water is. And other users can add comments to each of those. Like, this campsite had a lot of bugs this year, or there's not as much water as you think in this next water location. So while you're on the trail, if you think, hey, I got a couple more miles in me today, you can look at the Guthooks and go, okay, in 1.5 miles, there's another campsite that's got 3 or 4 tent spots. Or there's more water up ahead. I'm almost out. What should I do? Oh, there's more water. I don't need to worry about it. So different things like that, which will be super helpful. But I used it to identify some main camp spots along the way. So then I used the second app, which is the All Trails app. And basically, I created my own map on here. And I won't show you exactly how to do that today, but it's super useful if you get to know it. So here's where I'm starting, the Rush Creek Trail over by June Lake. And I put in each of the spots where I think I'm going to camp. And then I basically drew the route between them. So what this does is it allows you to see what the elevation is going to be down here of each of your days. If you think you can do a little bit more, I can pull this up on trail and see what's ahead of me. Is there a big hill ahead of me at the end of the day, or maybe some downhill, or nothing much, right? So it'll help me along the way decide if I want to push it a little bit further or pull back. And I'll show you why that's important as I get to the end of this. So this, it's very effective, and then you can also add different routes that come in. For example, I have people joining me halfway and people leaving halfway. So I did this to show them a couple of possible routes in so that they can meet up with me or they can exit. So now, depending on how fast I go and how much I can do, my initial goal is to exit Kearsarge Pass. I want to do more than that, but this is like a conservative amount, giving me even a day off in a 0 day. But if I'm feeling really good, maybe I'll go, takes me to the top of Forester Pass, or again, I keep going all the way to Mount Whitney, exiting Mount Whitney, one of two ways. So by using this, I really have an opportunity to understand what's coming up, and it helps me to plan a good day so that I don't end up doing tons of miles and tons of elevation one day and then the next day doing the same thing over again when I'm going to be exhausted. So a super useful tool, but those are the two tools that I'm using to plan. Now I'll still carry a map and compass while I'm out there, so I'm not 100% relying on, software, things like that. So now the third thing is base weight. Now base weight is everything in your pack that doesn't change. For example, water, the amount of water you carry, so the weight of water will change. The amount of food you carry will change. So what is your base weight? Now, some people are able to get a base weight down to about 8 pounds. 12 pounds is probably good and very doable. But because my backpack is 5 pounds, almost 5 pounds just alone, I'm thinking it's probably more realistic to shoot for somewhere around 14, 15 pounds for myself. Plus, I have to carry an almost 3 pound bear vault for my food. So right off the top, I'm somewhere around 7.5 pounds without anything else. But I've done some practical things. I got a 1 ounce poop trowel. I upgraded my cooking pot to a titanium cook pot. It's just the Toaks 750 milliliter. So I've done some things already to lighten the load, and I'll probably take the brain off of my backpack. But as we continue to go and progress through this, I'll show you the different ways that I'm going to try and lighten my load. And then I'll do a last gear loadout so I can show you exactly what I'm taking. So that will be something to look forward to coming up. Also, in a future episode, I want to show you how I go about figuring out transportation. Once you're there, you're starting in one place. I'm only going to have one car. There's a shuttle system. I'll show you a little bit about that and how that can work to your advantage. Also, as things progress with the planning, I'll show you a little bit more as far as that goes. My food, I'm already starting to dehydrate some food and kind of explore with that. So all those will be in future ones. I'll try and keep all the John Muir Trail stuff in under one playlist so it's easy to see and easy to find. And if it's not something you're interested in, you can continue to use you can continue to see all of our other content. But if it is, hit subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know whether or not you like this. Also, if you have any questions or comments, put them down there. Something that I wasn't able to touch on, and maybe I can touch on it in a future episode, or even answer it right then and there in the comments for you. But I look forward to sharing this journey with you. I'll probably even do some trail vlogs, I guess maybe they're called, to show you the actual backpacking trip. So until next time, I'm Corey. Lori's out there. We're getting ready. It looks like the sun's coming out. I think we're going to go on a hike, which will be exciting. It's getting to be that time of year. So until next time, we'll see you later.
and we're gonna start a new drinking game every time Corey says "and things like that." So I'm gonna go have a drink.
Do I say that a lot?
Oh, you say it all the time. Like in life, all the time. And things like that. I'm like, things like what?
Stop recording. GoPro, stop recording.